Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we will cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. And from the studios of your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM in St. Catharines. And their website is www.classic1220.ca. And of course, they stream us right around the world. If you like to send me an email, my email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, it's X-Zone Radio TV. And on X, it is, X-Zone Radio TV as well. Wow, we've got a very interesting first hour for everyone tonight. My guest is TONI GHAZI, and we're going to be talking to Tony about his experience and expertise with channeling Praying-Mantis beings. Tony joins us here on the X-Zone from Washington, D.C. And Tony, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you, Rob. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here again, and very good to hear your voice and to be here with your audience.
Nice hearing you too, my friend.
Yes, thank you. Super grateful that we can have this dialogue with the world, with these discussions that can be triggering and weird and different. And how can this be when we're taught the world is one way? But then we begin awakening to realize it's more than what we're taught. And there's a level of complete trust of self that what I'm experiencing is real. And many, many humans on Earth are experiencing their own version of whatever ascension is, expansion, and enlightenment. And they're really communicating with all kinds of intelligences beyond the mantis beings, right? So my story happens to be, about the praying mantis, and there are a lot of people that do connect, but there are a lot more that connect with their own version of their own beings, which is just beautiful. So thank you for this beautiful platform to discuss the infinite. Basically.
It's my pleasure, Tony. Now, Exonation, Tony is motivational speaker and channel for the Praying Mantis beings of the Antares Stargate. He is a powerful channel, cosmic communicator, spiritual guide, executive coach, and inspirational speaker on a mission to awaken humanity to its highest consciousness. As a direct conduit for the Praying Mantis beings of the Antares Stargate, Tony stands as a bridge between dimensions, transmitting profound wisdom, transformative guidance, and potent healing energies from these advanced benevolent extraterrestrials and extra-dimensional beings. Tony, how did you get involved with the praying mantises from the Antares Stargate?
Yeah, you know what? My journey really began when COVID hit or became a thing, in our reality. before that I was completely asleep, knew nothing about knew nothing about spirituality. I'm Lebanese by origin, and I was born in Lebanon, moved to the US when I was to the USA when I was 15 years old, to Washington D.C. And I actually grew up Greek Orthodox, so I went to church, prayed to Mother Mary and Jesus and all kinds of saints. So my whole life up until I was 40 years old has been all about religion and like going to church. I wasn't like fanatic, but I would pray to Jesus and like Mother Mary every day, every night. I was quite religious. But then COVID hit, and then something shifted. It's hard to describe. It's almost like a new like knowingness within my field, within my energy, within my mind that kind of said, this whole paradigm of fear and of suppression and of like limitation and wearing masks, and it just didn't vibrate well. Like something happened like within me that had to stand up and say no, at least to my own self. And then I had a few months. So I sell real estate here in Washington D.C. And I still do, and I'm quite busy. And I like normally don't have time to watch TV because I work 10, 12 hours a day or more. But like during the first few months when COVID came, we were trying to figure out how to sell real estate, if it's okay to meet people, like this whole paradigm of masks and like 6 feet, being away. During that 2-month period where like the real estate world was trying to figure out how to function, I had time to watch TV, and I downloaded an app and a TV station called Gaia, G-A-I-A.
Yeah.
That talks about spirituality and like consciousness and meditation and aliens and disclosures, and this whole world of like perhaps the X zone, right? Like the more and like the beyond. Mm-hmm. But I knew nothing about any of that world. I didn't even know this language and these terms, my terms, and like the vocabulary I would use was just everyday 3D, like what I call like corporate language. But one specific show called The Interview with Extra Dimensionals with Ruben Langdon, popped up in my field. And it was specifically about channeling. He had about 2 seasons, and I think he had about 15 or 16 guests that have been channeling these beings, these energies, like since the 80s and like the 70s. And I was just obsessed, just entranced by what I was witnessing. Like my mind would understand the English words, right? It made sense, but no comprehension, no contextual, like no context of what it all means. But I kept watching and watching each episode like 5 or 6 times, wanting and desiring to understand what I'm hearing, right? And it took a few months to kind of grasp like a little bit of it. But it took a year, like after that show, because look, after 2 months, like we went back to work, and real estate was extremely busy, and I just didn't have time to kind of like watch again new episodes or even go back to the Gaia channel. But I realized in retrospect that first year that what I watched for 2 months, the things that I wanted to comprehend, were all these vibration and frequencies and like concepts that became embedded in my field. And throughout the year, like synchronicities, I mean, I could describe 1,000 synchronicities that happened that brought the pieces like together for me to understand what I witnessed like during that show. And then I began having like ships appear over my house, and I have videos of these on my iPhone. I have so many videos of these like light ships appear over my house that would rotate brighter than the sunlight, mm-hmm. below the clouds, like in the daylight at like 2:30 p.m. and like 4 p.m. that would rotate like into this white light of just that's like rotating and rotating, and it would spin into this like silver sphere, and it would disappear completely, and it would go back to light. So it was like light, like silver like shaped sphere, and then like disappear. And that was kind of my first experience with a UFO, and I was like, oh my God, this happened to me. And I called my husband. I was like, Greg, come here. And he was in disbelief at what I like recorded, and that became this like new world or like new way of living in my world, where things start appearing, however they appeared. But now I realize it's not that they just appeared because like somehow they came to visit. It was my perception of the world. It began kind of changing, that there is more that I cannot see because of my own definitions of what I thought the world is, that allowed me that opening in that experience. And then I had a one past life regression where I was hypnotized by this hypnotherapist that could take you, into past lives or future lives or just other memories that your mind cannot, in a sense, remember.
Right.
And in my first hypnotherapy session, the first image that came through literally was of a praying mantis head. Literally, it was so visceral. It was a flash of like an image, but yet within that flash, I was in it for eternity. It was the first time I could experience like two awarenesses at like once, which is a quick image that like came and left, like, a microsecond, but yet within that microsecond, I was in it in like a timeless state. The next image that they showed me is of this long-bodied silhouette made of light that looked humanoid, about like 20 or 30 feet high. You see the head, you see the shoulders, the arms are like really long, like the hands like really extended like down to the knees. And it was this silhouette of a humanoid made of light, and I hear in my mind, like telepathically, we are coming to you in this vibration and frequency of the light, specifically in the humanoid look. Because should we come to you truly in our essence, your mind will just not be able to comprehend what it's seeing. There's no like reference point of any kind for like such an intelligence. But they said, as you keep like remembering and like witnessing, because like those images are burned in my mind, the more that you connect with us, the more that you begin to, in a sense, calibrate to like the vibration and frequency of whom we are. Your like body, like your mind, your in a sense energetic field will begin to understand what we are made of, and like little by little we'll like begin to show ourselves like to you more of what we actually are. But it's a journey that I'm going to have to take with them. And then the last image that came through was of this heart that's literally like sliced up. So I could see like vertically all of these slices that go into infinity. Within each slice, it was all faceted, but it was faceted with the clearest crystal you can ever imagine. And there was an intelligence about the clarity of like the crystal that I cannot escape from my mind. So each of the like the slivers of the what's the word I used earlier, the slices that went to infinity, all like faceted. And of course, it just went on like forever. But within that infinity, there was a point, there was a grain of light, literally a small speck of light. And I heard like clearly, each and every one of you, meaning all of the humans, all of the consciousness, all the animals, all of the energies, we are so powerful that we do not need a big flame to realize our power as creators. All you need is a grain of who we are, an ingredient, a tiny ingredient. And that little dust or like speck of light reflected off the one facet to the next, to the next, to the next, creating this vehicle of beautiful light.
Tony, I hate to do this to you, but we're on our break right now, so please stand by.
No.
At Exonation, we're going to continue this very fascinating conversation with our good friend Tony GHAZI when we return from this very short break. If you'd like to find out more about Tony, visit his website, TONIGHAZI.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this short break. Don't go away.
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep, to everything.
And welcome back, everyone. Tony GHAZI is our very special guest this hour. Tony is in Washington, and if you'd like to contact Tony, his website is ToniGhazi.com. That's ToniGhazi.com. And his Facebook page is facebook.com/The Antarian Heart, and that's TheAntarianHeart. Again, Tony, thanks for being with us. Can you continue? Because this must have been an experience that not only has changed your life, but the lives of others to whom you share the message that the Antarians share with you.
Yes, Rob, thank you for having me back. I mean, look, after the third image that came through, I knew that I am of heart and I am of light. Like all of us operate through the heart frequency and through the light frequency, and that's what we're made of. Look, I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for 15 years. I have my reputation. I teach real estate to the corporations, et cetera, et cetera. So for me to have been embedded in the whole corporate world and have my reputation, to step out and say, in addition to that, I also talk to aliens, but not only aliens, but insectoid beings. I either have gone crazy or whatever happened really is so visceral, at least through my lens, through my belief system. I changed my life to where I have two businesses now. I have the real estate and I have this. I had over 25 trips in the past year and a half all over the U.S. Talking about this, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to Japan,
Wow.
Next month to also talk about this in the channel live. And yes, it has changed my life drastically. It has re-empowered me to remember who I am as a being, as a divine ascended being. And each and every one of us are ascended masters. And that's the trick. We have been led to believe that we're not. We have been led to believe that all these deities, Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whomever you believe, are outside of us, when truly they are in our heart. We are the ingredients of these deities, and it belongs, not even belongs, it's within us. We have access to that wisdom. We have access to that knowledge. We have access to healing. We have access to reshaping our life and creating any world that we desire. But we have been precisely taught that we're disempowered. We have been precisely taught that we're imperfect. We have been so taught to judge others, situations, and ourselves. And all of that keeps separating us from the totality of who we are. So the whole teachings that the Praying-Mantis have, in a sense taught me, and I'm still a student of the universe. I don't profess I know everything, but what I do profess is my life was this way, now it's changed this way. I don't know how it's going to be next, where I'm going to be next, what I'm going to say next. But what I can do is just share my whole journey with you, and this is not to change your mind or to make you believe in any other way, because you have the free will choice to decide. But this is my way of kind of being honest and true to myself with the world.
So you're part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Look, I'm stopping for a moment because now I know there is no problem. Everything are mirrors.
Right.
To allow us to go within. So recently, the Praying-Mantis beings have been telling me, when I'm on stage and when I'm in the channel state, they deliver this powerful. I mean, there's a lot of powerful messages. One of the most recent ones was, imagine you walking outside the door of your home and having the intention to view everything, everyone, everybody, meaning the wind, the sun, the moon, the oceans, the rivers, the plants, the insects, the animals, the humans, the car, the rock, the volcano, even experiences that you witness other humans having. Everything as ascended masters. And each of one of those ascended masters are holding a mirror for you to be able to see inside of you that you cannot see on your own. What a beautiful gift we have given to each other, to allow everyone else to act through their free will choice, every being, every consciousness consciousness to be as is. But by them being in their free will choice, experiencing their world, gives us a mirror to witness within ourselves. Because if you get triggered, like watching something, or if you disagree like with something, or there is some sort of that, like, how is it happening?
Wow.
That's happening within us. It's not happening. They're not causing us anything. No one else can cause us to feel or be anything, which like tells us it's happening like within. So what a beautiful mirror they are like showing us to be able to look inside of us, which is all really to find who we are at the self.
Let me ask you, Tony, let me ask you something at this point. With everything that is going on in the world today, the geopolitical unrest, the threat of nuclear war, and a very unstable person who has his hand on the nuclear football, who is so unpredictable at any given time that nobody knows what is going to happen. How do the Antarians relate to the problems that we're having here on this planet? I understand that you, my friend, have had the opportunity of communicating with these fine ETs, and that you spread the information to all those you can. Hats off to you for that. But what about the people who are unable to hear your message, or who do not want to hear your message? Would the Antarians, or to your knowledge, any other ET civilization, interfere with the nuclear obliteration of this planet?
Look, this is extremely good question. There's a lot of good questions that are of this vast magnitude that will trigger people, and like which I'm going to answer it.
Right.
But like the short answer is no, they are not. Their mission is not to interfere with our free will choice.
Okay.
Their mission is to honor us as divine beings, to choose any reality that we choose. And should our humanity choose to obliterate itself,
Mm-hmm.
and annihilate itself,
Sure.
then they will allow us that space to do so, so we can ascend. Because in reality, I'm going to take it one step further. There is no death. We're all energy beings that are living forever. And when we are able to comprehend that beyond the intellect and really understand that we are simply energy beings on the stage of creation, playing out the role of what it means to be human, to have forgotten that we are divine, and experience all these experiences. Through each experience, it allows us to expand into the infinite. Because when you do recognize there is no death, even if we destroy ourselves, we're not dying. We're just changing costumes from human to spirit, or to butterfly, or to a planet, or to wherever else we choose to decide. So they are capable of truly seeing it from that perspective.
So are we
Yeah.
living in a matrix? Is everything that we're doing pre-planned? What is the mission of life then?
Yes, we are living in a matrix, and it's not pre-planned in the sense it is destined and this is your only path. There are theme of explorations that we decided to experience, themes like a big umbrella, but within that theme, we have the free will choice to navigate it in whichever way that we choose. And truly, I'm very clear on this within my own being. The purpose of life is to experience everything in the infinite. Because how else, as an infinite being, are you able to recognize the many pieces of who you are, the many facets of who you are, as the infinite essence, should you not experience every facet of infinity? So even if we choose to destroy ourselves, as humans, that is part of the infinite, because there is no death. We'll come back and then we'll probably relive a new life where we choose the opposite, where we live in harmony, or any shade, in between. You see, through the eyes of creation, it never judges anything. Everything is experiential, and through us allowing each other to experience the all, we get to understand how vast and infinite we are. But if we keep ourselves in a container, in a sense, which is also part of ascension, that is one facet of the all. It just allows us to experience that, and we
Right.
like perhaps prolong our awareness of how expanded we are as beings. Does that make sense?
It does, but let me ask you this, Tony.
Sure.
You and I have had years of experience. I've had experience on this side of the microphone. You've had the experience of having the contact with the Antares and then relaying their messages to the people that you talk to. But
Yeah.
how do we know, Tony, that we actually do never die, that we never cease to exist? How do we know this? Is it based on our own belief of this existence?
Look, I have 5 dogs. We lost, a dog over the summer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Like all of a sudden we found out. No, that's okay. No, I mean no worries. I mean yes, thank you. Like I say no worries because now I realize the answer to your question. We found out that he has cancer, and it was overnight, and like we had to put him down literally 2 days. It was a huge shock to our system and to our life.
Yeah.
But I knew instinctively that there is no death, and beyond like the intellect, right? But that dog, and his name is Bay, B-A-E, a beautiful, like white pit bull, most loving ascended master, like the most loving like Buddha you can ever like imagine. When he passed away, and like they took his body, and then we came back home. The moment I stepped foot inside the house, my heart dropped. Right, because normally Bay comes up, and like licks us, and I just knew he's not physically here, so my heart was in pieces. But yet, at the same time, I cannot describe this to you. I also knew he was there. I felt he was there. I had 2 feelings of a loss, but yet of a no loss. That was my proof, like for me, that I know that there is life beyond. But look, we talk about ghosts. And there's all these ghost shows and like these energies, and like we talk about reincarnation. What's reincarnation all about? Because if you die, you don't exist anymore.
Right.
There is no reincarnation. You just don't exist.
Tony, once again, we're up against a commercial break. Please stand by. Exonation Toni GHAZI is our special guest, and his website is TONIGHAZI.com, and that's TONIGHAZI.com. And for those of you who love to go on to Facebook, he also has a Facebook page, and his Facebook page is, are you ready for this, Exo Nation? It is facebook.com/The Antarian Heart. Tony and I will be back on the other side of this break as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our studios of the X-Zone Broadcast Network in St. Catharines, Ontario, and we're streaming and coming to you live on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ. We'll be back. Don't go away.
And a time to every purpose under heaven.
Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? I saw us disregard a broken bottle top and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the window, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Toni GHAZI is my special guest this hour, Exonation. TONIGHAZI.com is his website. And Tony, how do you deal with skepticism?
Hi, Rob. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Look, I've learned to honor and to witness everyone's journey.
Okay.
I've been receiving a lot of what I call hate mail via like social media on Instagram and on Facebook and like things of that sort. Because when people witness this new dialogue and they've been taught that the world is like one way, especially like through the eyes of religion, I get these like people that call me, I'm crazy, I'm X, Y, and Z, I'm homophobic, I can, et cetera, repent, you're gonna go, you're the devil, you're a cult leader, all these extreme descriptions of,
Yes, I
like wherever
understand.
they are. Yeah, it's super, super interesting. And like my husband said, I don't want to see any of those. I said, it's okay, honey. But my job is who am I to tell you how to think or like where you are? And if this was me like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, I would have, I would not have called you names, but I would have been in a state of like, this sounds crazy, or this sounds like my mind is able to comprehend it, so I'm going to shut it away. It's just too much for me to handle. It's much easier like for me to, in a sense, judge you than not.
Yes.
But obviously my world has changed and I'm on the other side of the coin. Listen, I grew up in the Lebanese like civil war, so I've gone through the whole trauma of war. I was sexually molested when I was a child. I
Oh,
also
right.
stutter and I've always stuttered all of my life. So I'm in no way, shape as like perfect or ascended as like people think. But I am also real. I have my own like insecurities and own dramas and traumas that I'm trying to understand my world. But yet through that, I also have the other side that began to expand to the more. So with my life story and everybody else's life story, my job is to witness you and just honor like where you are. It's okay if like you don't get me. It's okay if you think I'm insane or crazy. That's fine. But this is my story, and it's important for me. Through the ridicule that I receive every once in a while, it gives me the opportunity to stand in my truth and honor my true version, and also honor their true version. So like from my eyes, that's okay. Because one day we're all going to wake up to a point where we all have a path of awakening. We're all ascending. We're all awakening through our own lens. And look, there is no destination. That's the other thing. There is no, oh, I've ascended like more than you, or I'm going to reach like destiny or the end. There is no end because we're infinite beings. So what's the hurry?
Yeah.
If it's going to take you 10,000 years to realize you are a light being, like so what? You still have the infinite to experience, like the totality of who you are. So that's the way that I see it from my lens. And believe me, like when I say, if you spoke to me like 2 years ago, I would not have comprehended any of this or even been able to understand the idea of what I just described. But through the channel, like when I'm in the channel state, I really, like in a sense, like leave my body and become, energy, and these concepts that are, the words aren't able to describe what I experience at times because they're like so limited. But this is where the knowingness comes in, and I'm just doing my best to just speak my truth and be who I am and listen to the whispers, because we all have angels, we all have guides that are whispering us constantly to awaken. And I'm beginning to trust more all of these whispers that come in many different ways. It's not just auditory whispers. It's like things that you witness. It's like stories that you read. It's like dialogue you have with people. It's like a TV show that you may witness. It's like you could be outside, look at a tree, and just have like an awakened moment of a profound understanding. You could hear a bird, because we're all vibration and frequency. So I'm beginning to tune in into my whole surroundings and how beautiful gift we live in. There's communication. There are messages like coming from all beings, and like beings could be, could be men's beings, could be Jesus, it could be Mother Mary, Krishna, Buddha. All of the deities, it's all the same thing. All of these are labels of the same energy. Just we like through society, through like custom, through like language, we attempt to understand them more through our limited, in a sense, facet, and we place labels and we compartmentalize things, but all of it is the same thing. We're all energy, we're all divine, we're forever living, and we came to earth to experience this density, this reality, to understand what it feels to have emotions and to have a whole like spectrum of all colors of feeling happy or feeling depressed or feeling suicidal or feeling excited or feeling hopeless or whatever. All of it are shades of the infinite. And when you begin to see that from that perspective, that wow, through me allowing myself to experience the all, I get to know who I am, then you just begin to live in a very magical world of empowerment and not disempowerment. That there's no other forces outside of you that are causing this to you. We are creating it through our through our own belief systems. We're like, a computer program. We're like intelligence that we've been encoded. We've been like inputted these like sets of data, and this is how you function. But when you begin like to realize that you are intelligence and you can shift those codes to something different, and you begin to experience a reality that is different, that is not that in control, but you have the free will choice to change, to steer your life.
Tony, I was wondering if you could tell me about the interdimensional communications and unity consciousness.
So interdimensional communication comes in many, many, many ways, and I'm really realizing that the act of what we understand like communication is not what we think it is. It's not just verbal. It's not just auditory. There are many ways. So like through the man's beings, I've learned that you can communicate with light, like light itself, and then color frequencies, are communication. There are many ways to communicate beyond like the five senses, right? But in order for us to experience those, we have to fall into the abyss of the unknown, meaning we have to surrender into not knowing what we know to allow that unknown to show us what it is. But if we go into the unknown with preconceived notions and like with set of data and like with set of belief systems, what it's going to be, we are missing the gifts that the unknown will give us. That's where the full surrender into not knowing what next is, what this experience like will be, where we reveal the gifts to us of what it is. Because in that surrender, we are allowing that communication to be heard. What was the other question about? You said interdimensional being.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what it was about because apparently you're the. Just give me a second here. Sure. You're the fearless pioneer of the interdimensional communication and unity consciousness. You believe that the sacred transmission from the Antares Stargate beings hold the codes to humanity's spiritual evolution and co-creation of a world illuminated by magic, magnificent, and miracles.
Yeah. Look, unity consciousness is truly realizing, because we always have to use, like, in a sense, the idea of unconditional love. What is unconditional love? Loving with no conditions.
Right.
But yet humanity still loved with conditions. One of the main messages of like the Praying-Mantis beings and a lot of other beings is to realize that through the act of unconditionally loving the all, we integrate each other back. We are able to witness and honor other people's choices. Simply by doing that, you're unconditionally loving that ascended master, regardless of what choice they make. Even like the whole political turmoil or whatever, the things you disagree with, yes, it's okay for you to disagree with it, but it's a complete different vibration and energy when you like witness that being and say, you know what, he is part of the infinite, he or she are part of the infinite, and I'm here simply to witness them play out their role in the best way that they are able and capable to do. That's an act of unconditional love. Not to change them, not to alter them, not to, in a sense, like judge them. It should be this or that because we are all the infinite.
I think that the best example of unconditional love is that little child that just comes into the world, and they come like a brand new hard drive. They're not programmed, and they depend on you as a parent, but they love you with all their heart. There's no strings attached. It's the same when you come home and you're greeted at the door by a little fur baby. They love you unconditionally. And I believe that there is a lot more unconditional love out there than people perceive. And it's so great to hear you talk about unconditional love, because that is one of the under-talked about topics in our world today. We need to talk more about love. We need to talk more about helping one another. We need to talk more about getting the world back together again. You know, my wife and I were at the dog park with our fur baby Sophie the other day, and in this area, there were about 30 dogs, 30 little dogs about the same size. And they were getting along. First time they met, they were having a ball. And I looked at my wife, and she said to me, Robbie, how come we can't be like that? People can't be like that. And I don't know, I think we've lost the ability to love unconditionally, but I believe, Tony, in my heart of hearts, that we're coming back to a time in our evolution where unconditional love will play a major part in keeping what we call reality together until we go to that other side.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And we are, and I always talk about this. I'm like, if you turn the TV on, the majority of the time, it's about fear and like the differences. And I always like tell people, just because we like witness and like we may have the illusion, there isn't. There are millions or billions of people that do operate on the unconditional love, aspect of things. So it's important to bring that to surface, to embody it, to be it, to actually act it out, not just intellectually speak. Because oftentimes we intellectually speak about these things, but we don't embody them. Like,
Tony, I hate to do this again to you, but I've got to take my final break. Stand by, my friend. You and I will be back, and we'll continue this conversation and wrap up the first hour of the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And you're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ in St. Catharines. And they stream us online at www.classic1220.ca.
This wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? I saw us disregard a broken bottle top and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind.
I was walking down a one-way street, just looking for someone to meet. One woman who was looking for a man. Now I'm hoping that the feeling is right, and I'm wondering if you'll stay for the night. So I'm coming. I don't wanna be lonely, baby. Please tell me. I wanna love you all over. Do you believe in love?
That's Huey Lewis and the News with the song, Do You Believe in Love? Yes, I believe in love. You can see love. All you need to do is open your eyes. You know that look that your child gives you when you just go to them and hug them and say, you know what, I love you. Just out of the blue, because you do. Or that look of love that you get from your wife, or that loving feeling that you get when you're walking down a beautiful path and you see all the trees and the animals and everything is just so right. So yes, I am a romantic. No two ways about it. I'm proud to be a romantic. And I believe in love, but I believe in just more than love. I believe that humanity is a creation that will succeed and we will go forward, because more and more people, whether you're listening to this show or watching some of the great television shows that are out there, are opening up their hearts to what they're seeing, and they too are starting to believe. And our guest this hour, Toni GHAZI, is a gentleman who goes out there and tells people his story, tells people the messages that he's received by the Antares, and is making a difference. Toni GHAZI, again, thank you for coming on the show tonight. And what would you, what would you like to tell the Exo Nation right now? What message would you love to give to them that you have received from the Antares?
Oh my goodness! Thank you, Rob. So look, right before we went on break, you began talking about when we're born, we're a blank
Yeah.
canvas, right? And the unconditional love that we have for like such a new baby.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, what each and every one of us are trying to do is to begin to love ourselves back to where we were. Because when we were born, we were this blank canvas of creation. There was no limitation of any kind. But then you grow up in a specific culture, in a specific
Yeah.
society. You go to school, you're muffled, you're suppressed, you're placed, in a box. You broke this glass, you spilled the thing on the carpet. No, you shouldn't do this. You're a boy, you should wear blue. Like you're a girl, you should wear pink. Like all these limitations, limitation. What was once an open canvas of our creation has become a small, tiny box. And no wonder we loathe ourselves at times. No wonder we judge ourselves. And then we go into a society that perpetuates like judgment. You should look like this. You should be like this. This is what success looks like, et cetera, et cetera. You should have gone to this schooling. You should get an A or 100% on your exams and tests. No one. All these layers of limitation, suppression, and disempowerment have been placed upon us daily, every microsecond of our existence to whatever age you are here now. And what we're trying to do truly is to go back to that part of ourselves that unconditionally loves
Tony,
yes.
would you agree with me that not only are we getting information from all the 724, 365 news cycles, the different video, audio platforms, the internet, but it all starts when we're so young. We go to church, we go to school, and that's basic programming of how we're to think, what we're supposed to believe. And like you were saying, boys are supposed to wear blue and girls are supposed to wear pink. And I've always thought of it this way. When we're young, we first start going to school, we're taught about Jack and Jill. They went up a hill to get a pail of water, and then you had the old lady who lived in a shoe. You had the cow that jumped over a moon. You've got a jolly old guy who rides around the world in a sleigh pulled by reindeers. You've got an Easter bunny. You've got the leprechauns, and the list goes on and on. And then when you get to a certain part of your education, usually in grade 2 or 3, they pull the rug out of under your feet and say, no, they're just fairy tales. What's a child to do?
Precisely.
Yeah.
No wonder we are lost.
Yeah.
No wonder we are confused. No wonder we don't trust ourselves anymore. No wonder that we are searching for more. We are searching for that divine God, for somebody to lead us back to where? To our hearts, to who we actually are. And when we begin to love ourselves, because we are a vessel of creation, and unless I am able to love myself fully, I won't be able, in a sense, to give out the unconditional love, the vibration of unconditional love. We also have been trained. We are very well trained into how to act, what love looks like, but we are not being what love is. That's the difference. And that's what the mantises really have been, in a sense for me, allowing my brain to reconstruct itself, to deprogram the old paradigm and reprogram it with new paradigm that don't only talk with the intellect of these grander topics, embody what it means to be unconditional love. And imagine if I self-love myself fully, I'm going to be radiating that energy wherever I go. I'm going to be sharing it with the world. I'm going to be, I would begin to have this desire to help others, at least show them that there is a way, outside of this prison that we have placed, that was placed to us by society, by the education system, by our parents, by, and by our own story of this empowerment. Look, recently, because you mentioned the idea of the boy, how parents or society thinks you're a boy, you should wear blue, or you're a girl, you should wear pink. Recently, I was on stage in Sedona, Arizona, and I was called by the men's beings to wear a dress. Like, I have no desire like to wear like a woman's dress. Yes, I'm gay and all this stuff, but I just never had it. But I fell into that calling that, you know what, be the paradigm shifter. Stand up on a stage that's filled with 800 people and like show them that it doesn't matter what is a dress to begin with, what is pink. It is all creation, and give the opportunity for people to see that if they have been muffled or if they have been suppressing their own need or their own desire, because society said X, Y, and Z, stand up there with like courage. And when I tell you like people were crying, just like witnessing, and like to me, I didn't feel feminine, I didn't feel masculine. I felt a being, a creator-like being. And I've been really falling into looking not the normal of how people like want me to look. I have markings on my face. I have tattoos, not real tattoos, but they're temporary tattoos, like for spirituality every single day as I'm selling real estate and as I'm doing spirituality. But now I'm like falling into the like extreme, only to break the paradigm of what is. It is all art of creation. So this is how far I've gone to, and I'm not doing it to change people. I'm doing it to live my truth. That if I say I'm a creator and I'm a being and I'm genderless and I'm like this and that, I'm going to step into that version regardless of what the world says. This is for me to ascend myself. But as you witness that, you may begin to have a permission slip to begin to hear your voice, to listen to the calling, because we all have those like voices like within us that knows the truth, that knows what fulfills us. But yet, I'm afraid to be embarrassed. I'm afraid to be like ridiculed. There's all those like the ego that's been trained to push us away from the heart, in a sense, from the self-knowingness. We begin, like, I'm really like beginning to like work with that ego and allow the ego to like throw a tantrum and not listen to that story of fear. And one of the most empowering like things to be is to simply be who you are. The lightest version that we can ever be is to be, because it feels so weightful. It feels so heavy to worry about what others think. It feels so heavy to continue to drag the shackles of what society expects of you to do when you fully in your heart know. That's why, like kids, they say be like a child, be in a childlike mentality, because children don't overthink. They just are. They are.
That's
beings.
right, yeah.
They are, you know what I mean? So I really believe each and every one of us are seeking to find the self. But we don't have the tools. We're not taught. We don't have a lot of examples of who. So hopefully I'm one of those examples. I mean, there are like many examples out there, right? But truly, this is all, I'm doing this like for me, for my own ascension, for my own, and I'm just putting myself out there, hoping that people can see an example of being creation and really breaking out of the matrix of suppression, of muffling our voice, muffling those whispers, of what the heart desires. Look, I wanted to dance when I was a child, and like when I went to college, like when I was a freshman, I really wanted to take a dance class, because I'm like, I would be a good dancer, and I didn't, and I still haven't after 45 years. Because like then, when I was like 19, I was afraid if like I'm a dancer, like people may think you're gay or you're girly or whatever it is. I had stories in my mind from the Middle East, right? That is suppression of self, and it's just one example. And like, but now I'm kind of thinking maybe I should take dance lessons and just have fun.
Sure, why not?
I love it. Just, you know what I mean? So, but we all do this constantly, daily. You may be like at a job that you thought you liked, and then like things shifted, and you don't belong there, but you're afraid to make the step.
Tony,
to release yourself from that prison.
Yeah, Tony, I'm going to have to stop you here because we're coming down to the final 2 minutes of the show. First of all, again, thank you so much, Tony. Always great talking to you. Let our listeners know how they can find out more about you.
Yes, thank you, Rob. So my website is the best place, firstname.lastname.com, TONI. GHAZI.com, and I'm called the Antarian Heart on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other social medias. Yeah, and you can reach me there. I teach channeling classes. Like you can follow my events, all over the U.S. and now the world. I do one-on-one, I do group session, at times. I can travel and speak on your platforms at your, at your organization or spiritual place. So there's all kinds of options to reach me, and truly, we're all here to help each other remember that we are divine beings, made of love, made of light, and that's what I'm here to do.
Toni GHAZI, thank you so much for joining us. Take care of yourself. And Exonation, once again, if you'd like to find out more about Toni, visit his website, ToniGHAZI.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as hour number 2 of tonight, X Zone, starts right now. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Visit their website, www.classic1220.ca.